This is Ben Moore, Finance Manager for the Office of Community Assistance, and this video will help walk you through budgeting for the contractual and consultant line items within your 2021 CSBG budget. The budget line items that will be addressed in this video are 106 and 107 for program support, 306 and 307 for the administration categories. Now, the cost outline in this video are grouped together to include both the program support and the direct administration lines. So please pay special attention to what items specifically are required to be charged to admin, or apply those portions of cost that pertain to admin staff to the direct admin lines. For the contractual lines, 106 and 306, the items that must be charged to admin are annual leases of equipment, such as copy machine for use by administrative staff, contractual administrative staff, if you hire someone on contract for any administrative function, they would be charged to 306. Contractual IT costs, such as server, hardware, software maintenance, network troubleshooting and support, those would all be charged to line 306 for contractual. Equipment maintenance contracts for items that used exclusively by the admin staff or shared by the whole agency would be charged to the 306 admin contractual line. Some examples of those equipment maintenance costs and that kind of thing are shared agency server, IT hardware, or copy machines. Building maintenance contracts such as janitorial services, waste removal, snow removal, and lawn maintenance, again, would all be charged to 306. Building security, such as contracted security staff or an alarm system, those would all be charged to 306. Also, all audit costs get charged to the admin contract line 306. Or now, if it's a single audit cost or a single audit, those costs must be budgeted in either direct admin contractual, or they could be charged to the indirect cost pool 317. Other audit expenses, such as a financial audit or a program-specific audit, must be budgeted in the indirect category and be part of the indirect cost pool. So audit costs are all administrative. It just depends on what kind of audit it is, whether it gets charged to 306 or 317. The minimum requirements for the cost grid detail section of the contractual tab include the need to have any contract under the item. You need to list the name of the business and the description of the contract. The minimum requirements for the narrative section, you need to describe how you calculated this grants portion of the total cost. For temporary or contractual staff, you need to show in the narrative how you calculated the total cost that you included up in the cost detail grid. For an example, 2 part-time employees at $12 each for 1,040 hours, 50% of their salaries are applied to CSBG, 10% of their salaries are applied to the other two, or to each of the 2 LIHEAP and 3 weatherization grants. That's an example of how you might represent that in the narrative. The items to include in the contractual section in general are, you would include subawards here, temp agency or other contractual staff, rented or leased equipment, maintenance contracts for equipment, IT contracts, and building maintenance and building security contracts would all be included in the contractual category. For the consultant category, lines 107 and 307, the items that must be charged to admin are professional services pertaining to the operation of the grant, extending beyond the expertise of the LAA administrative staff. So again, consultants that are hired for administrative type activities, and that would need prior approval by DCO. And the minimum requirements for the cost grid detail section of this tab are that you need to separate the consultant's fees, for example, the charges to actually perform the work, versus their expenses, their lodging, meals, per diem, travel, etc. So you would have their fees on one line, their lodging on another line, meals on another line, per diem on another line, travel on another line. So we don't want to just see a lump sum of consultant fees. So fees that go into the top detail grid, or costs go both into the detail grid and narrative, and the expenses go in the bottom cost detail grid and narrative. because the consultant tab is broken up into 2 sections. So that's what that refers to. The minimum requirements for the narrative section of the consultant are that the basis can be items such as lodging. So you change the basis depending on what the cost is that you're including. So it could be lodging per night, could be mileage, could be train ticket, could be airplane ticket, taxes, etc. So you need, for the quantity, you'd put the number of nights or days on the consulting job that you're charging. And as far as lodging and transportation costs, they should be listed as separate items, again, not just as a lump sum. So in general, the items to include in the consultant category are professional services pertaining to the operation of the grant, extending beyond the expertise of the LAA, administrative staff, or any of the staff at the agency, and prior approval is needed to obtain a consultant. There are separate videos available as guides for completing each of the individual cost tabs in the budget spreadsheet, so I encourage you watch any of the other budgets that you may need assistance with, and I thank you for watching.